Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Kingsley. I'm with the Department of Emergency Management and Security. I'm a Community Engagement Specialist, and thank you so much for joining our July webinar. This month, we have an incredible guest from the Fairfax County Police Department who's going to speak to us about the Neighborhood Watch program they have. But before we introduce her, we have a few things from emergency management that I would like to highlight. Firstly, our community engagement section is more than happy to do any presentations for the community that may want to be done. We have a whole plethora of presentations that we do. Notable ones are our youth preparedness for Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or any type of schools. I know a lot of Boy Scouts now, this time of the year, do have their merit badge requirements. So please feel free to send us an email if you'd like a presentation. We are very flexible in the dates and times that we can meet. So definitely please reach out if any of these seem applicable and you'd like this to come out. Next, we do have a new e-learning on our website that's available right now. It is completely free. It's our introduction to preparedness. Pretty much, we took a lot of our preparedness materials and kind of condensed it and put it on an interactive web-based course. Now, you can start this today, and if you don't have enough time to finish it, you can always come back tomorrow or the next day. It will save your progress where you left off last. So please consider taking it. It's an excellent way to get prepared. And with that, we also have another offering on our website for business preparedness, very similar to the last one I just highlighted, which is our individual preparedness, where this one is more so on the business side. It will teach you how to build up a resilient business in the continuity operations and better ways to prepare for recovery operations for when disasters do happen, how to get back to some level of normalcy afterwards. As always, our monthly webinar themes are preparedness through partnerships. That's why I'm extremely excited for our guest tonight from the police department. We have a few logos here from our past and our future presentations that we'll be having. So be sure to check back monthly to see who we have on next month. And as always, we are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So be sure to follow us on social media for all things preparedness. We do also post the watch-ins and warnings for any type of weather incidents when they do happen, which is a great way to stay informed about anything happening in the community. And with that, I have the pleasure to introduce our guest speaker from the police department, Deanna Weand, Captain Deanna Weand. So please, I'll hand it over to you.
Good evening. I am Captain Deanna Weand of the Community Engagement Equity Bureau. I'm the Assistant Commander. And part of our Bureau oversees the Neighborhood Watch program. So I would like to talk to you guys about that this evening and how you guys can get involved and start your own neighborhood watch if you don't have one yet. So Neighborhood Watch is about connecting the police department with community members that live here in Fairfax County. We want you guys to know what to look for and when you should call us and how to get other neighbors involved because the more people who are involved and are watching out for their neighbors, watching out for their neighborhood, the more chances there are that we can deter crime. It helps build pride and unity in the neighborhood. A lot of times we find really strong neighborhood watch programs tend to be really strong in other areas as well, especially like the social areas where they keep in contact with all their neighbors, they know who their neighbors are, and they participate with them and do things with them, which is great for living, working, and playing here in Fairfax County. So what are we doing with Neighborhood Watch? Well, you guys are watching out for your neighbors. You're watching your neighborhood. You're watching your property. You are the eyes and ears for the police department. And it's a volunteer program that is designed by the community. So we do take community input. We do provide training to let everybody know how they can participate and how they can participate safely. Fairfax County as a whole is about 406 square miles. Currently, we have 9 district stations that cover all of Fairfax County. We have Sully, Mount Vernon, McLean, Mason, Reston, Franconia, West Springfield, Fair Oaks, and the Lorton District Station is our newest station. Currently, the Lorton District Station is staffed during the daytime. However, it is not staffed in the overnight hours in the station. The areas that are covering the Lorton Station are still staffed with officers out on the street from West Springfield and the Franconia District stations because we have not redistricted yet. But that hopefully will be staffed in the future full time. Currently, we have approximately 1,392 sworn authorized strength positions, and other agencies cover the town of Vienna, the town of Herndon, Fairfax City, Fort Belvoir. So if your community falls in one of those jurisdictions, this would not apply to you. So Neighborhood Watch is really to empower individuals to report activity that they perceive as being out of the ordinary. It leads to more accurate records of suspicious activity or criminal activity. And what can happen is somebody's watching, they're paying attention, they're out walking their dog, someone takes note of that, and they are deterred from committing a crime. Or someone's out walking their dog or walking with their family members or driving around the neighborhood, and they see something unusual, a car circling, something they're not familiar with. They write down the license plate, they report it to us, and maybe the next day or two, we get a report of something happening in the neighborhood, and then our officers can go back and they can see that report of that license plate and the suspicious vehicle activity, and they can match it up, hopefully, with a person's of interest for whatever was reported, whatever crime might have been reported as having happened in that neighborhood. So again, the neighbors are the eyes and the ears of the community. It encourages the neighbors to work together. So in my neighborhood, we have a spreadsheet of 52 weeks, and neighbors, families grab one of the weeks, and it tells you which week you're grabbing, and they say, hey, this is the week I'm responsible for, and I will handle all Neighborhood Watch stuff during that week once they are trained. So we work together, we know each other better. We do communicate on other platforms like social media platforms like Facebook with a private group. It enhances the safety and security of the people in the community. Again, if you have people watching and you see people's habits, you see who's coming and going, then hopefully something will stand out as unusual when someone's in the neighborhood maybe doing something that they shouldn't be doing. So what's the first step to forming a neighborhood watch? First step, coming here and hearing this presentation. Some of these slides are actually taken from the Neighborhood Watch presentation that we would give when we do the training. When you say, hey, I would like to start a neighborhood watch, we don't have one yet. What we do is we encourage you either to be a lead for your neighborhood if you guys don't have an HOA and see who else wants to get involved. Or if you do have an HOA, reach out to them first, find out who your board members are in your neighborhood and liaison with them first, because some HOAs have different policies when it comes to things like neighborhood watch. So once you decide you want to have a neighborhood watch and you gather interested neighbors who want to participate in this and who want to have the training, we decide what type of training you guys would like to have. We can offer in-person training where we come to your neighborhood and you guys will normally get together in like neighborhood clubhouse, and we will give the presentation to you and have you guys sign up. Or we can actually do an online training because we recognize not everybody is going to be at home at the same time with different work schedules, or maybe they have children and it's just not easy for them to get to a meeting in person. So we would offer one of those two trainings. And then once people are trained, then they can go ahead and start their neighborhood watching. Once you get a neighborhood watch in place, we would give you one of those blue neighborhood watch signs to place at the entrances to your neighborhood. Those are provided free of charge, but they're only provided to neighborhoods that are actively engaged in neighborhood watch. So anyone in the community, in that community, can be involved in neighborhood watch. There is no age requirement, so a parent could be out patrolling with their kids. However, we wouldn't want kids out patrolling by themselves, right? And when we say patrolling, it normally means you're out for a walk in the evening after dinner, or you're out walking your dog, you're riding your bicycle, your scooter, or even driving your car. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. We have a crime prevention officer assigned to every station. We actually have an outreach officer and a crime prevention officer that is overseen by our bureau. The crime prevention officer is the one that conducts the neighborhood watch training and then keeps track of who the point of contact is, and then can answer any questions moving forward, or be a point of contact where someone says, hey, I'm not sure we saw this, we're not sure what to do with it, if it's worth reporting, where we can take it from there, or can we get some more guidance, or can we get additional training because we want to train more people in our neighborhood to be involved. And then community patterns. So if something is cropping up in a neighborhood and it appears to be a reoccurring issue or something that's growing into an issue, that's when our crime prevention officer takes notice of it, gives you guys some suggestions for crime prevention, and we'll start messaging on platforms. We can message on Nextdoor, we can message area districts specific, and then we can also message all of Fairfax County depending on what the issue is. So as a neighborhood watch member, you're going to look out for your neighbors. You're going to look out for your neighborhood. You report any unusual or suspicious persons, vehicles, activities. You're going to make your home as burglar resistant as possible. You would think in this day and age that burglaries aren't as big of an issue as they are, but they do still happen. Homes do get targeted. A home could be targeted for a variety of reasons, but we are one of the largest, we are one of the most expensive counties, wealthiest counties in the nation. And as such, there are people that travel to Fairfax County, especially like right off the highways, and they look for homes they can target. Sometimes they do homework ahead of time, and they look for business owners who deal in businesses that have a lot of cash flow, cash on hand, and they will target those neighborhoods. They will look for homes that they believe might have a lot of jewelry, gold, silver on hand, and they will target those homes. So again, if we have more people watching, more people paying attention, kind of helps deter that and report things before it becomes a problem. But we're going to give you some education on making your home as resistant as possible to people who want to commit crimes like burglaries. And then you guys would be responsible for educating your neighbors, your family, your friends on the importance of what you do, the importance of neighborhood watch, some of the things you've learned, and how they can form their own neighborhood watch, or what else they can do to make the neighborhood safer. So each neighborhood watch has to have a coordinator. The coordinator can be whoever that neighborhood determines should be the lead. And that coordinator is just a liaison. So we are not dealing with lots of people from the same neighborhood on the same issue. We want like one point of contact. Hey, this is a concern. Hey, we need more training. Hey, we need a sign replaced or a sign placed. And they would be responsible for getting community members involved, getting a list of people together, getting them to the training, and alerting the crime prevention officer of information that needs to be shared with them concerning their neighborhood, maybe a request for additional patrols because something specific is going on. And it can be something as small as teenage kids in the evening hanging out, smoking, littering, because that contributes to other issues. So it's like, hey, this is a problem. We don't want you to confront them, but you could let your crime prevention officer know, there's some activity that concerns you and you're afraid it's going to turn into some other activity. And then we can increase the patrols to that area, knowing the information that you have. Hey, this occurs every evening around 10:15, or every Friday night. Great, then we're going to go out there every Friday night, 10:15, and see if that issue continues, or if we can just get people to leave and stop that behavior. Your neighborhood watch coordinator, again, is going to recruit new members and to encourage reporting of all suspicious activity. And then they're going to maintain a roster of the members that are involved in neighborhood watch. So crime prevention starts with you. There's the triangle of crime. We have the ability to commit crime, then we have the desire to commit crime, and the opportunity. And the one thing you guys can really impact is the opportunity to commit crime. You're most likely not going to take away someone's desire to commit crime, but if you install flock cameras in your neighborhood, if you increase the lighting in your neighborhood, have signs in front of homes alerting people to the fact that they have some sort of burglary security, burglary monitoring, those kind of things deter people from committing crimes. They'd rather go to an area where someone's not watching them, where they're not likely to get caught, where they're not likely to be noticed. So what we're trying to do is reduce that opportunity as much as we can with education. So the Freedom of Information Act, Virginia Code 2.2-3706, talks about all the things that our police department has to disclose if someone decides to submit a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request. And one of the things I just want to draw your attention to is subsection 2, section C. And basically it says that we can withhold the information of the people who are on those neighborhood watch rosters. So we are not disseminating information. I don't think this is something that people commonly ask for, but just know that your information would be protected. We would not be giving that information out and sharing it with the community and letting the community know, anybody in the community know, who has a neighborhood watch, how many people are on it, who's on those lists. We would protect that information for you. So Neighborhood Watch, again, I'm just going to keep reiterating it. It's about patrolling and observing and reporting. It's not about getting involved. It's never about getting involved. The patrol area would be well defined, so you would need to know the community boundaries for your neighborhood, and only residents in that community are supposed to be participating in that patrol. So we are not soliciting for people from other neighborhoods. Again, it's about knowing your neighborhood and knowing your neighbors, not looking for other people to come from other neighborhoods and know your neighborhood or know your neighbors. Sorry, I went back. 3 different ways that you can participate in Neighborhood Watch once you are trained. There's the observation. You could just be sitting on your front porch or looking outside your window and keeping an eye on things and reporting things as needed. You could be walking. That's the most common one. People often go for walks with their families after dinner. They go for their walks with their dogs. Maybe they just go for a walk to listen to music by themselves in the evening to decompress after work. During that time, it's a really good time for you to learn the neighborhood, learn patterns of things, and learn how to take notice of things that might be unusual. And then there's mobile patrols, and those normally are more common in larger neighborhoods. On my neighborhood patrol, we have a very large neighborhood, so I walk, and then I also do a mobile patrol because I cannot possibly walk all of the areas, all of the streets of my neighborhood. And you don't have to cover all of the streets in your neighborhood, but it is good just for you to have a good idea of what's going on and where, and be familiar with everything. So those are the types of Neighborhood Watch methods. Communication. So one of the most important parts of the Neighborhood Watch program is our system of communication, right? It's you communicating with your neighbors, communicating with other people who are on Neighborhood Watch, communicating with the Neighborhood Watch point of contact, who would then communicate with our crime prevention officer at the district station that your neighborhood's located in. If there's any concerns, if there's messaging, even if there's education, if there's something specific going on in your neighborhood, that there's a pattern developing, then we can actually offer education where it's like, hey, this is a problem. Let's show up in your neighborhood and let's offer education about, how to deter burglaries, how to deter thefts from cars overnight. And again, continuing that Neighborhood Watch education to get more people trained and more people involved. So to end the presentation, we have a sign here. It says, if I don't call the police, my neighbor will. That seems more common nowadays than you'd realize. I can't tell you how many times people have had their cars broken into, or we've had burglaries overnight where someone says, yeah, I heard something, the dog was barking, I looked out the window, I saw this, that, and the other. Yeah, it looked weird, but I figured somebody else would call it in, and I went back to bed. And then the next day, we go out there, and then they wave us down, or we're knocking on doors, doing a canvass to check to see if anybody has any video footage or if they saw or heard anything. And people will be like, yeah, I saw this happen at this time of night, but I figured somebody else would call about it. We shouldn't assume that people are going to call about things. The great thing about our technology nowadays is if someone calls the dispatch center, they call the emergency number, the non-emergency number to report something. If there's already a call in for that, they can say, hey, we actually already have a call in for that. Do you have more information we can add here? Can we put you as another point of contact that officers can talk to? Or, hey, we have officers on the way, or we have officers marking on scene right now. You're welcome to go outside and go talk to them, or we can take your number for them to reach out to you directly, or what home are you located at, and they'll stop by your house once they're done. So it's never a waste of our time for you to call us about things that you think are suspicious. And we would rather you call us about something that might be suspicious or something that's concerning, and for us to look into it and determine that it's not something suspicious, that it's not something concerning, rather than you not call us and then we find out in the middle of the night 12 cars got broken into, or someone's garage got access and bicycles were stolen, or cars were stolen, or a home was burglarized. Lots of things that can happen, even vandalization in the middle of the night, especially in the summertime when you have more people moving out and about with the nice weather. So don't assume somebody will call us. We'll handle it. We'll figure out if it's something we need to worry about, or something we need to follow up on, or if it's already being handled, or if it's not a concern at all. And again, I am Captain Deanna Weand. I think a link will be placed somewhere for you guys to click on. It will direct you to our open data portal for the police department. It is fcpod.org. If you go to fcpod.org, You can actually read about all the different ways to get involved with Fairfax County Police Department, and you can learn about all the district stations, all of our outreach events. And if you're not sure what district station you're located at, you can actually put your address in and search, and it'll tell you which district station you belong to. It'll tell you how to get involved with our community advisory committee meetings that happen monthly at each police station. So if you live in the Mason district and there's something that concerns you, or you just want to know more about what's going on in Mason district, or how you can get involved, or how you can help, you go to those meetings. You get to hear from the commander and the assistant commander, and normally the crime prevention officer of that district station, and they will educate you on what is going on in that district station, and you have an opportunity to talk about any of your concerns or ask any questions that you might not have, and that you're not willing to tie someone's time up by calling and asking. So it's like an open forum, and people can feel safe and secure asking those questions and knowing that they're going to get an answer from the people who can make a difference in that specific community. And with that, I thank you guys for your time and your commitment, and you are welcome to reach out to me at any point in time if you have any questions. My email is my name, Deanna.Weand@fairfaxcounty.org. And I thank you. Have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Captain. And then our next webinar will be next month, August 7th. Hey. Our next webinar is going to be August 7th, Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's going to be all about back to school preparedness. It's that time of the year again. We got to start thinking about it. So please join us next month. And as always, here's our contact information for emergency management. If you'd like any outreach presentations or have any questions about the webinar or anything pertaining to emergency management, please feel free to call or reach out via email. But with that, thank you so much for joining our webinar tonight. And I wish you all a really happy 4th of July. Thanks and good night.